the SCIE.avi system right here. I'd like to start by talking about the system that's over in the current command center right now. It is the same fire alarm panel, okay? So if any of you have worked with that system over there, like Dawn, this is identical to it. Have you guys had any experience at all with any of these fire alarm panels yet?
Just a little bit with the one in the command center, and then on the whole building.
Okay. It's getting kind of confusing out here in this particular building because you have 3 fire alarm systems. So I'm just going to tell you what the function of the SCIE system is. Let's start with over in the current command center. There was a panel installed there about 10 months ago, a year, somewhere in there. At that time, we picked up all the existing smokes, heats, pull stations, horn strobes on the rest of the base. So it would be basically these buildings right here, these smaller buildings, and everything that direction. All your old dorm buildings, all those buildings are protected by that panel. Okay, that was installed. We installed another one over here, and we networked it. So anything that happens on that panel is reflected on this panel. Anything that happens on this panel is reflected on that panel over there. There's no master panel, they're a network system, so they can both have the same function as the other one. In this particular building, we have limited coverage with this panel in this building. The reason is that there's the pre-action system here and the clean agent system. So this particular building, we have very few smoke detectors and very few heat detectors in this building. I'm sure you looked. He showed you all his smokes and heats in all the different rooms which set off the clean agent. Okay, so this is how it would work, how it would go down if there was a fire in this building. Their devices on the clean agent panel would detect the fire. Okay, then they would get ready to discharge the clean agent. That would initiate an alarm at this panel right here and sound off the horns and strobes. I know the horns and strobe situation is getting very confusing at this point because there's so many of them. This right here, is one of our horn strobe kits. They just fire on the side of them. This is for the E3 system right there. We also have some pull stations scattered around. Here's one of our pull stations right here. Okay, if I was to pull this, it would set off this fire alarm system. It will not set off their fire alarm system. Okay, their fire alarm system sets ours off. Ours does not set theirs off. This is your main fire alarm panel for the building. And the reason I say that is that we monitor the clean agent panel as well as the pre-action panel, and then we enunciate or display that information here as well as at the current command center. Okay, so if anything's going on, they've shown you how to use the clean agent panel, but if anything's going on, you probably want to come down here and take a look and see what it says. Okay, inside the building, there's also 2 enunciators. There's one on the first floor by the front door, and there's one upstairs in the, I guess that would be the command center. Those will display anything that happens. So what I'd like to do here real quick is open this thing up and let's take a look at that real fast. Let's take a look, you guys. There's not a lot going on here. So you guys are probably going to be maintaining this in a year or so. We've got a motherboard, very similar to the one over there. Motherboard, power supply converts 120 volts to 24 volts, goes to the system. This ties the 2 panels together. It's called a repeater. Battery backup, relays to handle different things in the building. Okay, if this panel goes into alarm for any reason, whether it's the pre-action panel or the clean agent panel that sets it into alarm, if someone pulls a pull station or if one of our heats and smokes is set off, there's a few functions that this panel has that are different than the other panels. One thing it's going to do is it's going to shut off the heating and air conditioning for this building, as well as close all the fire smoke panels. You have 2 large roof-mounted air conditioners on the roof. When this goes into alarm, I have it set up on for general alarm. It will shut those units down and stop letting air be forced into the building. Okay? It will also shut down your clean room air conditioners. Okay? And then it will enunciate at both enunciators in the building. If this goes off, you're going to have to reset it before you can restart your air conditioning units. Okay? And the shutdown of the air conditioning units is handled through some duct detectors, which are basically smoke detectors placed in the ductwork of the building. I'm going to create a simple trouble here by removing the battery. Every single thing on a fire alarm system is monitored. It's important to understand that. Every one of these wires, power supply, all the devices in the field, if anything gets removed, the panel will immediately know it and it'll sound off. It's going to take it a couple minutes on this. Okay, there it is. Power fault, battery. Okay, there's two things you can do with the fire alarm panel. You have trouble and you have an alarm. In this case, it's trouble. Simply hit trouble acknowledge. If it were an actual fire or an alarm, which I don't want to set off, then you would come in and hit alarm acknowledge, signal silence. Don's had quite a bit of practice with this system already. So let's go inside and take a look.